AEW belt, how in the world wouldn't the announcer say, they got the AEW World Championship? What are you going to do? It's a small thing, but I'm agreeing with Vince McMahon on this one.
You know, it's interesting you put it in that perspective, Shane, because all we hear about is the things you can't say in WWE or the terms, you know, wrestler versus sports entertainer, all that stuff. But no one's ever put it in that context where, okay, we understand what can't or isn't being said, but what's the alternative and how much better or worse does it sound? And in that case, it absolutely sounds better to say the World Championship title than to call it a belt, because what is it? The belt Cody's wearing, the muscle belt, or are we talking about the championship belt?
Yeah, exactly. Especially for a new viewer. And you always need to take in mind that there's a new viewer watching, even if it's one person. Oh, and they're going to go, belt? What the hell is he talking about? You know, you want to say, and two, especially if you're the champion, I'd much rather call myself the world champion instead of belt holder.
Yeah. What about the strap?
Like I say, in the heat of the moment, when you're saying this, that, and the other, and if strap comes out, fine. If belt comes out, if title comes out, that's fine. Because you don't want to be redundant saying the same words over and over and over. So I get that in the heat of the moment. But when you're promoting something that's important to you, and I know I touched on this last week, but this is something that these guys are going to fight over. They're going to punch each other in the face over.
Yeah, it's value.
It should be important. Hold it in the highest of regards at all times. At all times.
Yeah,
Dave, you say it should be important. This is an argument you've made for a number of years.
Absolutely, because you're fighting over something of value. I mean, when you say belt, you think of what holds up your pants. You say championship. I mean, you know, it's always the world champions. It's, you know, it's the UFC championship belt. It's always
Title.
Championship title, and it's just amazing to me how at times AEW, it seems like they try very hard to be everything anti-WWE.
Well,
throughout
but
the show.
Is this being anti-WWE or just doing it a different way? I mean, the only bar to raise them against or to compare them against is that of WWE, I guess you could say. So fair comparison, but
no, I mean, you can compare it to Ring of Honor. You can compare it to to TNA Impact Wrestling or New Japan. It's not just AEW versus WWE. It is on the national level, but as far as the other companies, and like Shane said, he even watched Impact. They consider it a championship title, the Impact Heavyweight Championship.
To be honest, the way Moose is carrying the TNA World Heavyweight Championship right now is better than any champion in any company is presenting their championships.
Really,
that's how it should be presented.
That's a bold statement. Might need a little more explanation there for the fans who will say, how dare you say Impact is doing anything better than WWE or AEW?
It's just that championship means something to him. Like even the storyline of Brody Lee still in the AEW championship, that to me is you're just assuming that the AEW championship has this long leniency. It doesn't. It's still a new championship. It's a big company, no doubt. Mox is only the second champion. It's barely been in existence. It doesn't have – that's something you would do with the big gold or something like that, something that you would do with the Stanley Cup. Yeah. If a new hockey league came out and somebody stole their trophy, you'd be like, who gives a shit? If somebody steals the Stanley Cup, that's a big deal.
Well, and every time you see Moose wearing his championship, it's around his waist. It's not over his shoulder. It's not around his neck. It's not in his hand. He's legitimately wearing it around his waist.
Yep.
Bobby Heenan said it best. He said, you never see a Super Bowl champion or a World Series champion wear his ring on a necklace around his neck. It's on his finger. He's not wrong.
Well, speaking of rings, continuing to talk about